Her subjects had no bread. Do you know what she said?
Let them eat cake.
Here, take the bomb.
We're getting screwed, man. Every time we turn around, we're getting screwed. Oh, the revolution's going to be through podcasting for sure. That's the only way we talk. It's the little guys that take the brunt of everything. It's got to stop. Peasants, man. We're just peasants. Every one of us. You watch those old movies, you see the peasants in the background with the kings and queens walking around. We're those people. We're those people. Good morning, peasants. Welcome to another episode of The Peasant's Perspective. So glad you all have made it this morning. John Atakis, good morning. He's in the house. Carlito and Tiffany, happy Tuesday, y'all. So glad to have you guys. Oh, man, we got a big show today. So I'm jumping in. I can hardly wait. It's a good morning in Boise between storms. Snow expected on Thursday. Ooh. Uh-oh. What's going to happen to all the tomato plants? Is everything going to freeze out? We're going to get no flowers this year? It's a late frost.
You planted already?
Good morning. I keep thinking about Shantini and her cheeseburgers. I'm like, I wonder if we should get a couple of those cheeseburgers.
Absolutely.
I got a pasture in Wisconsin. We can raise them for a couple years.
I was thinking of a freezer.
Freezer? What is it? Kobe beef? Just put those things in a nice tight little pen. Don't let those muscles exercise. Feed them corn, fatten them up. All right, Shantini, good morning. Carlitos Tuesday, everyone. Glad you guys all made it. And I know why you pile in bright and early in the morning, 6:30 a.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday. You're here for the simultaneous sip, and all you need is a cup or a mug, a tankard, a chalice, a stein, a canteen, jug or flask, a vessel of any kind. I sure hope you guys are taking your sips. Fill it with your favorite liquid. I like coffee. And join me now for the unparalleled pleasure of the dopamine hit of the day, the thing that makes everything better, the simultaneous sip, and it starts right now.
Some people, when they have pressure, eat too much, like me, but like Alicia. And what she's going to do now is she's got one of the great trainers of the world and a very, very famous man in his own right.
Our goal is to get her between 125 and 130. She will look 118 to you and to the camera, 118. So we want to keep that soft, feminine look. We don't want to have these short, bulgy muscles.
The weight was unacceptable to a lot of people. Now, all of a sudden, she's gained. I mean, literally, she went up from about 118 to about 170 pounds. It was incredible. And we had a choice, termination or let's get her back into shape. And she gained 50 or 60 pounds in a period of 9 months, which is unbelievable. I've never heard of such a thing. And now she's on a very strict diet and she's working very hard. She's with a trainer, a terrific trainer, and hopefully it's all going to work out. But she's obviously got a major eating disorder. She likes food.
You called her an eating machine.
Well, at one point she was actually an eating machine. I mean, she was. Somebody said, gee, that's not a very nice thing to say, but it's true.
Man, I wonder why else you'd gain 50 or 60 pounds in 9 months, Ron.
Get your votes in at DraftKings now.
Love that so much. You're never going to change that, man. You're never going to change that, man. I think it's funny. 50 or 60 pounds in 9 months. I'm like, yeah, 9 months. What happens in 9 months? Did you guys just hide a pregnancy? You know what I mean? All right. I just thought that was so freaking funny.
You got to trim off some of that baby fat.
Clearly, she's addicted to food. As the pot caused the kettle black, right? Yeah. All right, Jordan. What's his name? Our vice president, JD Vance. JD Vance came back from Iran, and he said that we kind of have a path forward, but at the end of the day, one of the problems with that whole negotiation deal in Pakistan this last weekend was the Iranians didn't actually have the ability to confirm the deal. So no matter what, they couldn't confirm the deal. Now, all of this matters because it's the markets. The markets are trying to read the tea leaves and see what's going on here. So when JD Vance comes out and said, well, they had to go back to Iran and get final approval for the deal. Here's what we know. The Iranians, although they didn't want to negotiate until the sanctions were lifted and all this stuff, totally capitulated. They came in, we want a deal. And whatever they negotiated in that room, they then have to go back to Iran and get approval from the Ayatollah is essentially the way I read this.
Okay. Now, what's interesting, Brett, about this is that in the process of doing this negotiation, I do think that we acquired some knowledge about how the Iranians are negotiating. And this is ultimately why we left Pakistan, because What we figured out is that they were unable, I think the team that was there was unable to cut a deal, and they had to go back to Tehran, either from the supreme leader or somebody else, and actually get approval to the terms that we had set. So again, whether we have further conversations, whether we ultimately get to a deal, I really think the ball is in the Iranian court because we put a lot on the table. We actually made very clear what our red lines were. We also made clear, Brett, that we actually would be very happy. The President of the United States has said he would be very happy if Iran was treated like a normal country, if it had now what's in.
Yeah, we want Iran to be a normal country, like North Korea, you know?
Who doesn't?
We want Iran to be a normal country, like participate in the world order, I guess, the new world order that Trump is establishing. And so they had to go back to Iran and get approval. Now, with that, Trump did an extra step, right? He flipped the blockade on its head. Right now, the United States of America controls 36% of the world's oil supply. And by the way, that's a lot. That's a big share of the world's oil supply, okay? And Iran, throughout this entire conflict, kept shipping oil out. The boats that were getting through are the boats that were either paying a toll or they were allies of Iran, right? And though it was limited and it wasn't everything, it was still enough. It was kind of trickling out.
Well, it was their priority.
Yeah, and the blockade, the Iranian blockade, was their tool. That was their secret weapon, the thing they can do, low cost. We planted some mines. We've got machine gunners on the shore and rocket launchers on the mountain peaks. And that was enough to get Lloyd's of London to be like, we're not insuring anything going through the straits. And so that created a huge problem for allied countries. For non-allied countries, again, Russia, not Russia, but India got some diesel, oil, and China continued to get some, like they were trickling out the boats. Well, Trump flipped it around. He said, nope, we're doing a total blockade. Now, this blockade is another one of these misnomers. What he's blockading now is ships that are allied with Iran. 36 ships got through the Strait of Hormuz yesterday. I had a conversation with someone who was concerned about this whole thing spiraling out of control. Can it? Sure, absolutely. Anything can happen. I mean, we could find out tomorrow that UFOs are real. Anything can happen. But it sounds to me, from what I can tell, is this is pretty well in hand. This is a fait accompli. It's just a matter of getting the ink on the paper and getting a deal here. And a lot of this is because Iran's last thing, their oil production, which was keeping some cash flow going, is essentially got a ticking time bomb on it now.
At the same time, the numbers that you laid out, Iran has about, $280 million a day of export that goes out of the Persian Gulf and Strait of Hormuz. About $160 million in import that comes back a day. So you're cutting that out. And if that is not happening, then what's going to happen? Iran's going to have to store its oil that is extracting on offshore storage facilities or on tankers. And, I think within 13, 14, 2 weeks, Iran's going to run out of the ability to store oil. And then they're going to have to drop their extraction, which is going to pose a permanent long-term damage to its ability to extract oil. And that can lead into some kind of a friction within National Iranian Oil Tanker Company,
Yeah, Iran has stakeholders too. The ship owners, the oil wells, the people that are working. Because remember, just like on 9/11, what did you do later that day, Ron?
Went to work.
You went to work. And even in Iran, guess what you're doing? You're going to work, right? You're going to the grocery store. And we've seen some footage from within Iran, like the CNN piece where they're like, well, there's bombing happening, but everybody here is chipper and there's water for sale. And it's like, what's happening? That's what happens with peasants.
Yep.
Life goes on. The kings and queens march by and we keep banging on the horseshoes, right? Because we've got an order that the king has ordered from us.
Even the soldiers in war eat breakfast,
Yes.
They might not eat it at 9 o'clock, but
there's a certain normalcy. You got to plant your crops in the spring if you want to harvest in the fall.
Right.
Farmers in Iran are busy right now getting ready for harvest in the fall. People are going to work. They're doing their thing. So if you have to shut down oil production because you can't store the oil anymore, it's backed up, that's a death knell. That's one of those moments where it's like, now we're not just under attack and trying to levy attack. We've stopped our cash flow and now we've stopped our workers. And you know what I know about blue collar workers? Because if you're working on one of those oil fields, Pony Boy, back me up if I'm not wrong. They're dirty dogs, man. They're they're like, don't screw with me. You know what I mean? If you put those guys out of work, they're going to go home for like 2 days, and then they're going to be the ones that are going to be like, we're going to get my nearest rifle. I need to go fix this problem.
They're usually the guys that show up in a Jack Reacher movie.
Yeah. These are not the guys that show up on a college campus to protest. No. These are the guys that are like, I know where the substation is. You know what I mean? Okay. So here's the other thing too. All of this, everything we've done in Venezuela, how we've dealt with Cuba, and now how we've dealt with Iran, this all ties back to China.
Now, the Iranian oil blockade is probably the knockout punch. The Iranians are trying to outlast us. The longer the war goes on, the longer their regime can hold off a revolution. But their economy is experiencing a crippling depression. This blockade's costing the regime almost $400 million a day. That's $13 billion a month. Plus, the Iranians can only store oil for about 2 weeks before they have to start shutting off wells. The Iranians can't outlast us. The world's turning to us for energy. Over 120 empty oil tankers are on their way to the Gulf of America.
Many ships are heading to our country right now as we speak to load up with the best. Really, I guess you could say, somebody said the best and sweetest. I don't know exactly what sweet is, but when it relates to oil, it's a good thing. But they're coming to our country right now. There are many boats coming to our country.
Iranian steel and petrochemical industries have been wiped out. Without oil revenue, all they can sell are pistachios to Pakistanis. It could get worse. The president's still weighing limited airstrikes, saying a number of additional targets are very easy to hit. The Iranians are losing their cards here. And Vance, who just spent 20 hours negotiating with them, says that we're in the driver's seat. Now the Iranian...
There you go. So that, the conversation I had yesterday with someone was concerned about the big crash. And I'm like, there's a lot of things that could happen that could cause a big crash. I think this one is one of those ones where it's like, let's cool our horses. This is probably not going to ruin things. At this point, the effect on us is high gas prices for who knows how long. But once those oil tankers come in and start buying and the market settles out because
it's
they're just coming to get it, it's probably going to settle down. So that's really great. Chantini, good morning. Glad you made it. Douglas Wyatt, good morning, peasants. So glad you're here. Mari Easel, hello to all three of you. Who's the third? She's not here this morning, Mom. It's just Ron and I. Just Ron and I in studio. We got to get Maria a camera. We got to set her up for this too. Pony Boy, good morning. Glad you're here. Chantini, awesome. Yeah, are you talking about the cheeseburgers? Yeah, I saw your black and white cheeseburgers. They look pretty good. And by the way, for those of you that are audio listeners, we're talking about little calves. Chantini's a farmer. Sure. Legit farmer. That's one of the things I love about Orients. We got oil drillers, we got farmers, we got NASA, who knows whatever they're doing at NASA. I don't even know if you can classify that as anything over there. We've got IT guys. We've got such a
who are we missing?
We've got a Brit.
We're missing politicians.
Yeah, we're missing politicians. I got an email this morning from a politician wants to come in and talk.
Wow.
Wants to come in and do an interview. I'm super excited for that, right? We're trying to really have an impact on this show. Speaking of impacts, because of our show, Eric Swalwell actually resigned yesterday. What? Yeah, full on gone. He's out.
Nice.
Peace out, Boy Scout. Right? Now, Eric Swalwell is one of the handful of politicians that Trump has put his ugly eye on and basically said, look, this man is dirty. Nobody respects him. And that's that. This was back from 2024 when Eric Swalwell was trying to make it so that Donald Trump and others could never enter the Capitol again.
Little respected, lightweight Representative Eric Swalwell was just kicked off the Intelligence Committee for reasons of integrity and lack of intelligence, and for having the poor judgment of dating and falling desperately in love with a Chinese spy. Fang Fang, this idiot of a congressman, is now calling for publicity purposes only for some great American patriots, including me, to be banned from the United States Capitol building. Fortunately, people understand that Swalwell is a lowlife not respected by anybody and merely used for entertainment reasons by the fake news media to continue their assault on President Donald J. Trump and their assault on America. People like this are not serious people. They shouldn't be taken seriously. Little respected, lightweight Representative Eric Swalwell.
I need to set it so it doesn't auto replay. little respected. People like this shouldn't be taken seriously. Now, we're going to do a little walk through Eric Swalwell. And the reason I'm doing this is a couple things. Politicians have one duty and one duty only. Do what the voters ask them to do. That's it. That's their only job. Anybody who thinks that you're going to get politicians that are going to be Boy Scouts and Eagle Scouts, that's just because Ron hasn't put his name on a ballot yet. Aside from that, never meet your heroes. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's an athlete. It doesn't matter if it's Donald Trump. Never meet your heroes, right? Everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time. Everybody has Montezuma's revenge from time to time, and people make poor choices. Okay.
Yeah.
When it comes to politicians, we judge them on their voting record. We judge them on their ability to do what the people want. We can tolerate a lot. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Our
Look
expectations, our expectations of your personal life are very low. People who want to elect quote unquote, Boy Scout perfect leaders, they're the worst, because then you end up electing wolves in sheep clothing.
Or stagnant.
Yeah. People who do nothing, right? Because they're, I got to maintain my good image, and they can't stand up to the pressure. You need people who, like Donald Trump, this is what's amazing about him. He can't be bought off. He's up there talking about, she gained 50 or 60 pounds. She's addicted. You've been masochistic to women. Only Rosie O'Donnell. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He had a high profile affair with Marla Naples, Tiffany's mom, right? He doesn't care. He is what he is. What you see is pretty much what you get. Actually, it's not. I had someone this last week I had a conversation with too. Is like, I think Trump's narcissistic. I'm like, actually, I think he's not. I think he's extremely human. He's extreme. Like everybody who's ever talked to him personally, Steve Stern on the show last week was saying the same thing. Like, no, he'll just sit and listen, and RFK Jr. says, I drank the Kool-Aid. I thought he was a narcissist and all stuff. Really, in person, he's one thing, but he has a brand. His business is his brand.
Right. He's got an image to maintain and et cetera.
Yeah. He's got a macho, narcissistic image to maintain.
Right.
So on January 6th, the fateful day.
And he's well equipped to do it.
He's good at what he does.
Yeah.
Okay. So on January 6th, Matt DePerno. Do you remember who Matt DePerno is?
No.
Okay. So Matt DePerno, Esquire. Matt DePerno was the attorney up in Michigan that was doing the whole election fraud thing with the machines, and he was figuring all that out. And he was on One American News, and at the time they had cable contracts and satellite contracts, so you could get them on your TV. And he got on TV with a Dominion voting machine, and he put 10 ballots through.
Oh, yeah. I do remember this guy.
And then the count came out wrong.
Yep.
And he's like, what happened here? Okay. Within 48 hours, OAN lost their satellite contract and their cable contract and became a streaming service. Okay? It was that quick.
Yeah.
Now, this is the same time frame where if you mention the word Eric Ciaramella, does that name ring a bell to you?
Yes.
Eric Ciaramella was the whistleblower that kind of got the whole Ukraine gate. If you said his name, immediately taken off YouTube or any social media platform. So at this point, the censorship regime was in full effect.
Mm-hmm.
Matt DePerno on January 6th went to Washington, D.C., and he said, quote, this is his post yesterday. On January 6, 2021, while I was out protesting a stolen election, he was in a skiff giving hard evidence about it. I briefed Ulrich Bredbolu, counselor of Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, inside a secure State Department skiff about the 2020 stolen election. No phones, no computers, no electronics, paper only. For several hours, I walked through forensic evidence. This was not about anything abstract. It was always about fake ballots. I showed him ballot run manipulations, ballot mapping schemes, who printed them, how they were shipped, routes they traveled, and how they were counted.
Wow.
Assignment of fake ghost ballots to registered voters through inflated QVF records, variants of subversion, error rates, and remediation patterns, ballot anomalies, including off-site printing, irregular formatting, oversized internal blocks, and side marker manipulations. System vulnerabilities, including anonymous external connections with elevated privileges and hard-coded passwords, such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a tough one for encryption, right? Page after page, data analysis forensics. And we talked about a guy named Ben Smythe. He knew. I was later indicted by Attorney General Dana Nessel because I filed a lawsuit in Antrim County 2020. One of her prosecutors told me directly that I was charged because I started the train rolling. This is lawfare, and it was used to silence me. The story is not being told by Michigan media, but that's about to change. And here he's got, some graphics. And we don't need to take the time to go through these because it would drive the audio listeners crazy. Okay. At that same moment, while he's in a skiff briefing the State Department, an assistant to Mike Pompeo about election fraud, guess where Eric Swalwell was? Eric Swalwell was gaveling in the House meeting. January 6th, Eric Swalwell, I gavelled in the House in to start the day. A few hours later, when Trump's terrorists attacked the chamber, I texted my wife that I loved her to kiss our children goodbye for me. It's time for justice to be served. Eric Swalwell was a part of that whole thing in an important way. He had a historical position of importance gaveling that in. Right. This is a hotly contested election. This is Trump, this bombastic president, a total mistake when it comes to American politics. And Swalwell was going to be the one who gavelled in the session that was ultimately going to run him out of town. And meanwhile, I'm on the outside yelling into a bullhorn, stop, stop. Matt DePrino's in a skiff. Stop, stop, stop. Now, Eric Swalwell has kept this whole ruse of lies with January 6th. He was even the one who led the press conference for the plaque on behalf of all the wonderful service members that were attacked by Trump's terrorists outside the Capitol. So if you look at this like a coup and you view this as a coup in some relationship to the words treason or sedition, this has been ongoing. And what did Eric Swalwell do? He sat on the Intelligence Committee. He was a part of the Eric Chiaramellis fraud with Adam Schiff as his wingman. The whole thing, he's been a central node in all of it. But you look at him and it's like, are you serious? And then now, as Gavin Newsom is leaving California, he steps on, he's like, yeah, I'd like to run for governor in California. And remember, this guy was so brazen, he even actually ran for president. Okay. This is the thing, though. It's being reported on CNN that this Eric Swalwell scandal with him with, lots of women and sexually harassing everybody, and even at least a minimum of 4 now allegations of actual rape. Okay. They're reporting on CNN that this has somehow just been an open secret for the last few months.
Campaign trying to show that he's got momentum. Now, let's be clear, Anderson. This thing has been an open secret and whispered about amongst the campaigns for months, that this Swalwell thing could break. And we have both talked to campaigns who have said off the record, part of the reason that they stayed in the race, even though their poll numbers were low, was that they were expecting that there could be this big story that breaks about Eric Swalwell that knocks him out of the race and that gives them all a fresh start. So all these campaigns sort of
So all the other Democrats that have been running are playing second fiddle to Eric Swalwell because, he's got the connections, he's got the money, he's got the look, and he's led the charge against Donald Trump. And not just Donald Trump, others as well, like Justice Kavanaugh, right? I mean, Eric Swalwell was a big part of that. Now, here's the thing. For us on the Republican side, we're like, it's just, you just figured this out the last couple months. No, these guys have known for a long time. This is a montage of the media refuting any importance or allegation of wrongdoing about Eric Swalwell sleeping with a Chinese spy. Bang, 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 bang. Bang, 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 bang. Now, we got to remember her because she's going to come back up in this story because apparently Swalwell's not the only one that bang, 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 bang had close relations with.
Speaker McCarthy seems to have singled you out. He says that he had a briefing as well as former Speaker Pelosi had the briefing from the FBI.
He had a briefing and Pelosi had a briefing. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Okay. Pelosi had a briefing about Swalwell.
And the FBI never came before this Congress to tell the leadership of this Congress that Eric Swalwell had a problem with a Chinese spy. Political vengeance seems to be the flavor of the day with the 118th Republican-led Congress.
Kevin McCarthy, even in his press conference on Thursday, continues to say false claims about some members, including Eric Swalwell, Adam Schiff, who are key members on the Intelligence Committee, saying that because of some allegations, including a false claim that Swalwell was involved involved with a Chinese spy.
This is all about the vengeance. It has nothing to do with factually what the reality is. These are small-minded, petty people who are now in charge of committees. And if they remove you, it's going to be a huge mistake, and people know it.
My wife does say, don't threaten her with a good time, because I'm going to be home now for more diapers to be changed, school drop-offs.
Swalwell has never been accused of any wrongdoing. The investigation in question revolved around a woman suspected of being a Chinese intelligence operative more than a decade ago. She helped Swalwell with a campaign event, some fundraising.
Very old FBI investigation from 2015. Basically, the FBI notified Swalwell that an associate of his might be a suspected Chinese spy. When he was notified, he broke ties with that person. And then the FBI investigated and nothing ever came of it. This was, 10 years ago now.
I guess they were going to release the files.
Yeah, it's clearly, it's so obviously, he's running for governor. Let's release the files. Maybe there's something in the files that will embarrass him because we couldn't bring a criminal case against him.
He's trying to politicize a report that came out years ago that actually clarified and exonerated
Ruben Gallego. Ruben Gallego ran against Kerry Lake and stole that election down there in Arizona. So he's covering for Swalwell too. Long time cover. Okay. Remember this. Hold it in your mind. So we got Pelosi and Gallego.
Well, now they want to change that so that to benefit just the president's narrative to try to stop Eric Swalwell from being governor. They're going to corrupt the DOJ. They're going to corrupt investigations. They're going to force people, to give up their careers just for his little petty vendetta. And because he doesn't want someone like Donald Trump doesn't want someone like Eric Swalwell to be able to fight him every day.
And they always claim that you were connected to an alleged Chinese spy. Do you feel like you are being especially targeted, that it's coordinated even with MAGA media almost?
Well, it's because I'm effective.
Republicans called for Representative Eric Swalwell to be removed from the Intelligence Committee, and this was over ties to a suspected Chinese spy.
Representative Swalwell was never in a criminal investigation.
Okay. So, but just for the last few months, we've kind of had this wishy-washy suspicion that Swalwell might be a dirtbag. Oh, really? Now, I told you to hold on. You got Nancy Pelosi here. Yeah. So here's Nancy Pelosi yesterday. She was on C-SPAN and she's being asked about the situation with Representative Swalwell because he stepped down for running for governor of California. And then, within 48 hours, he steps down from Congress. He resigned. He's done. Okay. She goes, I never had any idea. Me? Never talked to.
Some Republicans and others are saying that Democrats turned kind of a blind eye, that they knew what he was up to.
No, that's not true. That is absolutely positive. It's true that they may say that, but it is absolutely not true.
You had no idea.
None whatsoever. None whatsoever. I had none whatsoever.
The FBI came and told you.
What happens in California now? He was in many of the polls, the leading candidate.
Yes, he was.
That's gone. There's an army of candidates out there. And California has this quirky law, because it's ranked primaries, right? Where you could end up with 2 Republicans on the ballot.
Well, it is.
How does that?
I agree that it is a quirky law. I do not agree that there'll be 2 Republicans at the top.
Some
We have to chalk this one up as a win. Okay, we have to chalk this up as a win. Hey, how do you know a politician's lying, Ron? Their mouths are moving.
Yeah.
Good morning, Shantini. You said awesome there. And then good morning, Pray the Rosary Daily. Glad you joined us here. Okay, so this is Eric Swalwell. This is during the Kavanaugh investigation. And the reason I'm covering this, right? This is does this even matter? It does. There's a pattern here. There is a pattern here over and over and over. And once you recognize the pattern, it becomes like telltale signs. Mm-hmm. Okay. Here's Eric Swalwell saying we have to investigate all the allegations against Kavanaugh.
The claims are serious. The witness yesterday was credible, and it is something that falls within the purview of what law enforcement can do and should do. And so I think they should let law enforcement do their job and not rely on 5-minute question and answer sessions with senators. Any woman that has come forward publicly with her name and her allegation should be investigated. We don't want to see a judge sent to the Supreme Court with asterisks or question marks around him.
I don't really want to send congressmen to the Intelligence Committee with asterisks around him too. Well, he banged Fang Fang, so I don't know. Maybe, where's it going to go from here? Turns out it never stopped. It was Fang Fang. It was another. It was another. It was another. And Anna Paulina Luna was on with Jesse Waters yesterday. And you know that little video clip we showed where he's kissing her and then he pulls her over and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
My wife was like, I can't believe you showed that. I'm like, you should see the Hunter Biden laptop. I mean, this is nothing yet. Well, Anna Paulina Luna, this video's out there and it's been given to the appropriate people. The metadata has been confirmed. Anna Paulina Luna drops a little tidbit in her interview with Jesse Waters that not only should kind of make your skin crawl a little bit, but it should also make you question everything about the Epstein hoax. Not that Epstein was a hoax, but that the Democrats would turn around and try to weaponize it and paint Donald Trump and the people around him with the very things they themselves were doing. And remember, Eric Swalwell has used this Epstein thing as a hoax, as a cudgel, to clearly cover for his own malfeasance.
So what I will say is that many people on the Hill knew about this. Many reporters have come forward, even in talking to me, saying that they had heard stories about this. But I do think that he has serious criminal problems on his hand. And I do think that he might end up in jail, Jesse. And if I could just share with you for a moment, not only did I receive forensic reporting showing that, you know, that infamous video of him in the hotel room was indeed him. It was not AI generated. But I'm also being told that more stuff is going to be dropping in the next 24 hours. And then also potentially the individual that recorded that video in that hotel room, Jesse, was a female and she was underage.
Oh. Just so the audience is aware, there's a video that's circulating. Fox hasn't confirmed it yet. It appears to show Swalwell on a bed, maybe another guy making out with a girl. That's it. That's all we know. But if what you're saying is true, and we don't know, but if that's true, that is very, very, very bad news. But
beware of the people who go over the top with stuff like the Epstein stuff. When it goes beyond, get down to the criminals and it starts becoming a political smear, beware, beware, beware. This thing of projection, political projection, you always want to paint your opponent with your own sins. The Democrats have absolutely mastered this. You had Kevin McCarthy coming out and screaming in a press conference saying Swalwell should not be on the Intelligence Committee. If they sat in the briefing I sat in, and they did, he should be removed immediately, right? Put him on the Ag Committee or something. But no, he continued on the Intelligence Committee. They knew this stuff was going on. And one of the reasons, and we're going to find out here pretty quickly, there were other politicians in the room. Okay. Now, the victims of Eric Swalwell, who have identified themselves and are now on camera in the light, are saying they're not done with this. So not only does Eric Swalwell have a problem with adult victims, there's potentially this underage situation, which she can't consent by law, right?
The fact that he has now dropped out of the governor's race and resigned from Congress, is that justice in your view?
No, it's just the beginning. It's just the very beginning. And I know personally that we're not walking away from this fight.
For me, justice won't be until he can't ever harm a woman ever again. And he has faced the consequences for the women that he has harmed.
I think in regards to the governor's race, he never should have ran for governor to begin with, knowing the kind of history and receipts that are out there. So that's a non-starter. And then in terms of Congress, I think he absolutely should have resigned. I think we just prevented another 30 to 40 years potentially of him harming people if he were to stay in Congress. So in that sense, I think we have served justice for his future victims.
Wow.
That won't exist anymore.
This is CBS. CNN. Oh, it's just been kind of an open secret for a few months. Nope, it hasn't. And to us, it's not even a surprise. Anybody and everybody involved with the J6 nonsense on the other side of the barricade that I was on, everybody in the building, they're all guilty, man. They all knew this stuff. They all had access to the information looping around. They all know how elections are really run. They all know how dirty politics is. Madison Cawthorn, the representative that was in the wheelchair, I mean, he got on a podcast and was like, I looked up to these people, and then they started inviting me, the cripple, to orgies. Boom, campaign out, right? And the thing is it's not just the Democrats that are doing that. There's others too. We'll talk about that here in a second. Now, Eric Swalwell was actually living in the house of a billionaire. A billionaire had given him a place to stay. There's a whole issue with if he even lived in his district or not, right? So this is his billionaire sugar daddy.
Okay.
And what is his name? I don't know his name. But he's a billionaire, and he had a $26 million house that Eric Swalwell was living in. As soon as this story broke, totally ejected. And he got confronted by Fox 11 on the street, and he says, "Don't break the trust."
How's your relationship with Eric? Are you guys still friends?
Eric who? Is that clear? Don't bust the trust. You bust the trust, okay? You don't exist in my life. You don't bust the trust. It's all about having integrity. Integrity, okay? I shake your hand, you shake my hand, we make a deal. We work together. We all have to make California the best it can possibly be.
Now, why does this matter? He's a billionaire in California, which means he's what I call a stakeholder. He has industry. He has laws that need to be passed that are favorable to him so he can maintain whatever's making him a billionaire.
He's got something to lose.
And so when he goes, "Hey, Eric Swalwell, I'll support your run for governor," I'm sure this billionaire did some background checks. Bang, 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 bang came up. A couple other things came up. And he goes, "Eric, tell me everything. I need to know everything. What am I buying here? What am I paying for?" And I'm sure Eric lied through his teeth, which is why he says, "Don't bust the trust." He's not talking about publicly reported stuff. He's talking about whatever arrangement. You shake my hand, we do a deal, we work together. Right. This is the dirty side of politics.
Yep.
This politician was going to turn an eye to bang, 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 bang. Either that or he's a total retard, right? But he had a deal with Eric. There's no other skeletons in your closet. Fang, fang, bang, bang's already been exposed. You got reelected. You're good, right? It's an old issue. That's the whole mentality here. Like, you're not going to be able to campaign against Donald Trump on Russiagate now. It's old. It's a dead issue. Bang, right. Bang, bang, bang just became something we sneered about, but no consequences. So when he did that and he made this deal with Eric Swalwell, okay, he had a deal. Trust is busted. Get out of my house. Eric who? Now, here's the thing. He's so perturbed by this. Now, this part is an act. He's so perturbed by this that he switched parties, Ron.
What?
Now, what did Nancy Pelosi in her little interview on C-SPAN say? They say the way California's ballot works is you might end up with 2 Republicans at the top.
Oh, that'll never happen.
But it might. But it very well might. And so this guy who's a stakeholder, who's got to have a governor in the mansion that'll take his phone call. Do we understand that point here? So now, because of this fallout, he's reading the tea leaves on the ballot and he's going, whoa, I might have to work with a Republican.
These red M&Ms are pretty good.
So instantly.
First say you're mad. I mean,
mad?
Yeah.
I am no longer a Democrat. I'm now a libertarian Republican. Because that's what a blue dog Democrat used to be. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's called executing, being accountable, enforcing, respect, responsibility, and results. Knowing what your job description is. Delivering results. Unifying. Making this country great. The great brand we have, okay?
That's called reading the political tea leaves and switching parties, because we're going to end up probably in California with 2 Republicans on the ticket now.
Whoa.
And he needs to have a stake in it. You tell me in 1 week you just switch parties? Yeah, I got to have someone I can work with. Someone I can. He just told you everything. I just unpacked for you how it really works with these stakeholders, right? His vote matters just a little more than yours. Okay? He's the guy that can call up the politicians and say, hey, come on out. Now, Stephen A. Smith, he's run cover for Eric Swalwell too. And on his show, he addressed this. And again, we don't have to have super high expectations of our politicians. Like, can we get to the point? We would love to have a world where no politicians ever had affairs or anything like that. But let's just admit, there's a tolerance for it. Why is there tolerance for it? As far as publicity goes, it goes all the way back to JFK and Marilyn Monroe. Like, as long as these are consensual adult relationships, and you vote the right way your constituents want, there's a certain amount of like unfortunate tolerance. And I know some people are like, it shouldn't be that way. Well, it is. Okay. So, but we can't do underage. We can't do flamboyant stuff. It's got to be something that you just do on your own time.
Can't do rape.
Can't do rape. And you can't deny it either. You can't be a liar.
Might as well throw murder in there too. No murder.
If there's if you're a politician and a scandal breaks and you're accused of an affair, you should go to the mics and go, yeah, what about it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, at least he's telling us the truth. Right. It's almost like the lie is worse than the thing. Does that make sense? So that's how Stephen A. Smith is presenting this. Like, listen, man, the problem is you put yourself out there and you just made a big deal about all this stuff and accusing Kavanaugh and everybody else, which Kavanaugh, I mean, that was back when he was a kid. You know what I mean? That was just ridiculous.
The accusations were enough for Swalwell to go after folks on the right. And now he's facing the same situation. You're the Democrats. This is bad. They were right to sit up there and call for him to cancel his campaign for the gubernatorial seat. It's clearly evident that as a married man, he was looking to get his groove on elsewhere. That much is clear. That he put himself in that position to be perceived as that kind of individual. There is no way around that. And my disgust as a person that had him on a guest on this show is that, bro, you knew what you were doing behind the scenes. Again, I'm not getting into rape, sexual assault allegations. That's extreme. I'm not getting into that. But you knew what was going on behind the scenes in terms of your consensual behavior with other women. Why are you putting yourself front and center when you knew what you were doing? Why?
That's the real question. Why? Because you thought you were above it all. You thought you had the billionaire backing. You thought you had the party behind you. And this is going on everywhere. It's no big deal. Everybody's doing it. So
yeah,
what's the big
everybody
deal?
gets away with it.
Yeah. And it took a series of little videos to come out that just made it in your face. And obviously the Democrat Party, especially like was mentioned with the CNN said, the Democrats weren't dropping out even though he was the front runner because there's backstabbers out there, right? When you're running against your own party, I watched this in a KCRP meeting, a Kitsap Republican Party meeting, and you have two candidates running for the same position right now. So it's primary season. Yeah. And it was interesting in our little meeting, 30 people in the room, and they went at each other. It was like, I like it. I like the fire. One of them was like not going at the other, and the other one was like, well, I will go after you. And I'm, she was like trying to really get, I was like, cool, man. In fact, that was, this is the one that impressed me as far as saying, I'll go for it. This is Teresa Fox. So she's running for the 6th seat going to House. So Teresa Fox.
Excellent.
So it's not my endorsement. You need to come on this show. Somebody needs to tag her, hashtag Teresa Fox. She's fox4wa.com. She needs to come on this show if she wants the Peasants endorsement, which is going to be very important if you want to run in Kitsap County here soon enough. Because guess what?
What?
We might have a sugar daddy ourselves, Ron, that's going to help us really impact local politics. Okay, so this is Ruben Gallego. Now, why is Ruben Gallego significant in all this? Well, Ruben Gallego is one of Swalwell's buddies. We've got text messages between them, making fun of their own party. They've traveled overseas together. They went to, I think, UAE. They're up on camels with their shirts off. These guys are like buddies, okay? There's a Twitter exchange between them where he's like, Swalwell's like, come on, man, I have to take the twist off beer caps on the beer bottles off for you. And he goes, I have soft hands. It's this whole thing. So this is Ruben Gallego getting caught outside of the Capitol yesterday being asked about this.
Saying that a lot of people it seems impossible that they didn't have some sense of what was going on. I think there are a lot of people saying a lot of you spend a lot of time doing things. I mean, and the man lived a double life, and for the 20 congressmen who lived certain time.
All right, the wind is making that horrible.
That's really bad.
He's saying the man lived a double life.
Yeah.
Dude, you're the double life, bro. And here's the thing. There's so many little things I could show you here, so many little clips and stuff like that. And I think this is good enough. Okay. People have gone through, and we live in the age of AI and facial recognition and all that stuff.
Ugh.
So from the very beginning, there was always the question of who's this figure here? Now, for the audio listeners, I'm showing a screenshot of this one person here who's on the bed with Swalwell with this woman. And whoever's behind the camera, according to Anna Paulina Luna, is underage. So you got at least 4 people in the room here. So who's this person? So here's Ruben Gallego, the person we just heard from. Here's this person. Here's the screenshot from the video. Here's another screenshot from other events that he's been out from the same exact angle. So somebody put this into Grok and said, is this the same person? And Grok says, yes, the ears and sideburns match. It's the same person in both images. Here's why it's clear they line up. Ear shape and position. The ear is identical in both photos, same size, same prominent anti-helix fold to the beard and hair at the temple are consistent. The hair texture and color gradient, darker on top, lighter near the neck, also match. Neck and skin tone, the skin texture, neck, hair, stubble, overall coloring are the same. Angle and lighting, both are taken from a very similar side rear angle under comparable indoor lighting. The first image is sharper and closer, while the stills it would suggest to people. It's the same guy. Thumbs up. Now, there's other people who've gone into even more greater detail with pictures, but I think it's pretty safe to say at this point, Ruben Gallego has got his day coming. Because when that video gets fully released and it circulates around the people who need to see it, it's probably not going to be good for him.
Yeah,
and
I don't think we need to even worry about the ear analysis at that point.
Yeah, and that little clip of him being like, oh, he was living a double life. Oh, were you in on it too? Right? Oh, the traveling you guys did together. Oh, the covering for him on the news you heard earlier when I said, hold on to that. Ruben Gallego, he's part of it. Now, this is a big week because we also had a Republican that resigned. We had Tony Gonzalez who resigned. He's the one who had an affair with a staffer who then burnt herself, lit herself on fire.
Yeah.
So he decided to go ahead and resign yesterday. In fact, here's the clip of that on Joe Pag's show.
A relationship with this young lady who was working in your office?
You know, very, very direct, Pags. I made a mistake and I had a lapse in judgment and there was a lack of faith. And I take full responsibility for those actions. Since then, I've reconciled with my wife, Angel. I've asked God to forgive me, which he has. And my faith is as strong as ever. When you make mistakes like this, you know, it's never easy. It humbles you, but it's important to kind of work through it all. You know, I look forward to the ethics committee starting an investigation. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to provide all the facts and all the details that lead to exactly what occurred in the entire situation.
It's the first time we've heard you respond.
So he admitted to it, and it took him a little month, but he posted yesterday on X, there's a reason for everything. God has a plan for all of us. When Congress returns tomorrow, I will file my retirement from office. It's been my privilege to serve the great people of Texas. Boom, 2 down. So here's the list of people that are on the block this week that are going to be removed from office most likely. So we had Eric Swalwell, we had Tony Gonzalez. On the Republican side, we also have Corey Mills, wife beater, girlfriend beater. He's got some problems, okay? So he's probably headed out the door as well. Okay. And then we also have Sheila Sheriffus McCormick. She's the one who stole $5 million from FEMA. So we've got 4 members of Congress that are either going to resign or be removed from office this week. I don't think you're going to, we've got 2 already. So 2 down, 2 in the barrel. We'll see if they resign or if they go. George Santos, who's the only living member of Congress who's been removed from office, and he goes, if I could do it over again, I'd resign. Go out on your own terms. Don't go out on theirs. And so he's like, and his whole thing was over $50,000 in misappropriated campaign funds.
Whoops.
Yeah. What it really was he was actually politically for Donald Trump. He was actually MAGA. As time has gone on, that's become more and more evident. The gay guy ended up being more of a threat to Congress and their shenanigans because he happens to be loyal to his partner and didn't want to play their games. And he, by the way, has a list of names of people he absolutely knows were sleeping around Congress and down in the literal cages below the Capitol where there's no cameras. He talked about this on multiple podcasts. So he's kind of like, hey, listen, you threw me out. There ain't no safe quarter here. So we probably are going to have a pretty good week in Congress this week, letting some of these guys go. Now, up next in California, as far as a governor candidate, the next leading Democrat to take Swalwell's spot is Katie Porter. Now, some people like Katie Porter, some people don't. I imagine most don't. So she goes, the allegations against Congressman Swalwell are horrifying. I'm thinking of the courageous women who have come forward to share their stories. We believe you and will stand with you. Now, X is a wonderful place because if you put some nonsense out there, every now and then community notes will bust your ass. And they busted her, and the readers added context that they thought you might want to know. Katie Porter is an alleged domestic abuser who poured scalding potatoes on her ex-husband's head. She's also been on camera verbally berating her staff for minor slights and has been described as abusive herself. Do you see a pattern here? Now, remember Fang Fang Bang Bang?
Yeah.
Everybody loves Fang Fang Bang Bang. So here's Fang Fang Bang Bang. Okay. Now, keep in mind, she made her rounds in California, and look who she's with.
Oh, yeah.
O'Connor. Marjorie Taylor Greene's wingman and Congressman Massey's wingman on the whole Epstein files. Now, the same person who released the video of Congressman Swalwell and maybe possibly another congressman in that room said, Ro Khanna, you're next. Everybody has their vices, and listed off a series of things. He says, you're next. Keep your trap shut. Now, you might remember Ro Khanna yesterday from the clip we played with the black woman that was saying like, oh my gosh, the border's open. It's nuts.
I believe that if you've committed a violent crime or a terrible crime in this country, you should face deportation.
But you guys don't do it. You believe it, but you let these people go.
Okay, so he says, I believe in closing the borders, and you should go home if you're committed a crime. Well, this is actually the truth. This was back when the border was open, and he was on MSNBC.
Just to say what President Biden has done, which is give people the opportunity to make these claims before they get to the border. The problem for the president is that Congress is not doing anything. I believe he has done more, certainly more than President Trump or even the previous president in getting done what he can without Congress acting.
Oh, hey, Ron, when is a politician lying?
When their jaws are flapping.
When their jaws is flapping. So I'm excited to see what Ro Khanna has. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene, we're going to get to her in the private side of things. We're going to reserve a little moment for her. But Ro Khanna and Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene kind of teamed up on this Epstein thing. And Marjorie resigned first. Now, the thing about Marjorie, she's not a clean actor in this anyways. She did go out on her own terms. Trump did call her out. And now she's kind of making the rounds playing the victim. I left Congress because I tried to uncover the Epstein files. Yeah, exactly. You took the co-conspirators, ran them out as victims, and you tried to use it as some type of leverage against Donald Trump. That's clearly what happened there. But we're going to talk about her in the private side of the chat, which isn't coming up for a little bit. We got a minute. Now, there was another little thing. Again, politicians being just absolutely retards. So Scott Jennings covered this interesting little story about Mark Kelly. So Ruben Gallego is the senator out of Arizona, and the other senator out of Arizona is Mark Kelly. Both of these guys were elected in Arizona, which is ground zero for election fraud. Okay, both of these guys were elected in Arizona, which is ground zero for election fraud.
Victor Glover is one of the most inspiring Americans we've seen in ages. Well, the least inspiring may be Mark Kelly, also an astronaut. You've no doubt seen him on TV this weekend. He was a shuttle commander before being elected to the United States Senate.
Maybe.
In Arizona, it seems to me that when we are sending people up to space to fly rockets, we want to find the most qualified, period, full stop. But for Mark Kelly, no, he now says that he wants astronauts chosen on the basis of race and gender. Listen to this, cut number 11.
The last thing I would want in a space shuttle crew would be 7 white guy, U.S. Navy test pilots like me. It would be a disaster.
What? Mark Kelly wants to run for president in 2028, so he has begun the exhausting tour of DEI pandering required of all of these Democrat aspirants. Must be exhausting, actually, particularly for Kelly. Now, did you know that when Mark Kelly went up into space, his entire crew, the entire crew, was made up of all white men? You can see it on your screen right there.
And look at his pose.
I know.
His pose.
Check him out.
What the heck?
Mark Kelly cares so much about promoting women and minorities. You know, he could resign his Senate seat and ask the governor out there to appoint a woman or a minority. But he won't do that because Mark Kelly doesn't really care. This is simply about politics, pathetic, pandering politics. And that's really all you need to know about this pathetic partisan named Mark Kelly. If Victor Glover is one of the most...
Houston, we're going to Florida. We're not going to the moon. Now, the controversy, did we go to the moon or not? Okay. Now, we like Lucker Palmer. Look, we like Palmer Lucky. Is that right? Yeah, Palmer Lucky.
Yeah.
Says it, yeah, Palmer Lucky. Or is it Lucky Palmer? Palmer Lucky. We like Palmer Lucky, like defense contractor, new age. He's building all this cheap stuff. And it's like, great. He's got all this excitement and, you know, people shouldn't pursue their dreams if they're stupid. I like the guy. He's fun. Okay. So he is on with, I can't remember if it's Jake Paul or Logan Paul. I don't know. One of the Paul brothers. And he's talking about going to the moon. Now, this guy is a defense contractor. He's involved in some of the aerospace stuff, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he's wicked smart. Okay?
He's not a dummy.
He's wicked smart. Now, Carlitos, I'm going to get to your comment there in just a second. Right? Oh, he says, I met Mark Kelly's ex-wife at Tammy Oyster Bar 10 years ago. She had a lot to say about that POS. Yeah, Mark Kelly's got some skeletons in his closet as well. Again, you know, if you're looking for a good sex scandal, you don't have to throw the rock very far in D.C. to hit one.
Hold on. Let me throw up my...
What a pose, man. The photographer, jeez, man. Nothing worse than 7 white guys going to a spaceship. That's what you got right there, 7 white guys. Okay, so this is Lucky Palmer talking to Jake Paul about did we or did we not go to the moon?
Remember that we went to the moon and we basically...
Do you believe that?
Oh, it's a huge part of it. No, like do
you believe we went to the moon?
I believe we went to the moon. I strongly believe we went to the moon.
I could not disagree more.
Oh, really?
I couldn't disagree more.
Oh, no, you're killing me.
I know, I'm one of those.
Okay, look, have you heard about the reflectors? You know about the reflectors? All right. So when the astronauts were there, they dropped a series of retroreflectors at different points on the moon.
Yep.
And retroreflectors are this type of reflector that basically takes light and it perfectly makes it go bounce, bounce, bounce at a perfect 180 degree angle.
Okay.
You can personally yourself, you can build a laser device. Maybe not you. Maybe you. Maybe you. Look, I'll send you the instructions. You can build a laser device that you can point at the moon with your own telescope, and you can point it at those points, and you can fire your laser, wait a few seconds for it to go, and you have a sensor, and it will read.
Are you serious?
Your laser coming.
Are you serious?
I'm 100%. The astronauts left them there.
Send me the pamphlet.
All right,
I'm building these lasers.
Yeah, now people say that doesn't prove, Palmer, that the astronauts went there. We could have sent robots that.
No, it doesn't matter.
But the point is, yeah, we made it to the moon.
I agree. That's my fundamental. Just because, Gus.
Okay, we made it to the moon. We made it to the moon. Now, what is it? We're space race team player 1. Is that what it is? Space race team player 1. Now, one of the astronauts that just went up to the moon and came back, who happens to be, some people say is kind of the DEI hire.
Okay.
DEI hire. Carlitos, this is what you're getting to. Victor Glover. Victor Glover is the astronaut. You ever hear Trump say things like, this guy's right out of central casting? Right out of central casting. Well, there's really something to that.
That 2 of the astronauts were central casting? Well, let's talk about it.
127th mission to the space station. Mike and Sonia are the 2 of the 4 American astronauts that are on that flight. They're right out of central casting.
So today is April 10th, and the Artemis 2 is set to splash down in the Pacific Ocean. Do you know what else happened on April 10th? Here, let me show you. And also let me show you who was part of that central casting. On April 10th, 2024, his popular TV show, Fallout, aired. Now, the thing about Fallout is, I found one of those astronauts on this show. Meet Victor Glover, who's the pilot of Artemis 2. Do you know who else Victor Glover is? Let's find out. Well, here's Victor Glover 2 years earlier as a cast member on that very famous show, Fallout, which aired April 10th, 2024. Now, when they tell you that they get them right out of central casting, they get them right out of central casting.
They're training astronauts. It's crazy.
Now, you might ask yourself, for those of you that don't know, what is central casting? Well, I give you the definition and then show you the company. Central casting, the department of a movie studio responsible for casting actors, especially viewed as a source of people who are stereotypical of their role in appearance, behavior, or nature. And look at the bottom. A politician right out of central casting. Now, if you look here, here's the company, Central Casting. It says Central Casting is the leading background actor casting company in the United States. We cast hundreds of roles on set every day. Sign up to be a background actor. And as always, this is for entertainment purposes only. I told you all, I'm trying to be a great producer like Spielberg, only for Central Casting.
It's right out of Central Casting. And there he is in a movie. 2 years early. Ron, did you know you can go from extra in an Amazon TV show to astronaut in 2 years? I think Lucker Palmy's wrong. You can live your dreams. Okay. I think we should sign up for Central Casting.
That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah, I wonder what they'd cast me as. You know, maybe they could cast me as a really famous podcast host or a TV TV anchor or something like that.
They gotta have something.
Oh my goodness! Right out of Central Casting, dude. He came from Central Casting.
You know what they're gonna say though? They're gonna be like, "Well, we need somebody to play a prisoner that's got experience."
Now, if we're Central Casting, yeah, you're slowly losing your space race team player card, showing all this space truth. Hey, I haven't even gotten to this book yet, the UFO crash book. I mean, I don't even know how to bring this up. Some of the stuff in here just blows your mind. Okay, so
let me loosen my Van Allen belt.
if we were pushing DEI, what would we do? We would probably, cast someone like an immigrant for office, and we would want her to come from a third world country that everybody agrees Somalia is a bad place to be.
Sure.
Right. And then we would want her to try to help the poor, the needy, the people in, all these
absolutely
addiction recovery and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, when you get someone right out of Central Casting to run for office and they fit all the profiles, when you really dig into what they're doing, it's right out of Central Casting. It's money laundering, embezzlement, kickbacks. Joni Ernst kind of blew the whistle on Ilhan Omar.
One of our spending bills making its way through Congress was a $1 million earmark from Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, which was an earmark that was supposedly going to a substance abuse clinic, which actually happened to be housed in a restaurant and run by 3 individuals that share the same residential address, according to their IRS paperwork. Tons of red flags. So this is what we saw with the fraud involving the daycare centers. Now we see other earmarks coming directly from members of Congress where it seems fraud is being perpetrated as well. So I raised the issue, and fortunately, the House has now stripped that earmark out of that spending bill. But again, this is how easy money.
So no money for the restaurant. $1 million for the restaurant. Oh, but it's addiction recovery. Well, they've got good coffee after your AA meeting, and they need to subsidize it. What are the odds that some of that money was getting kicked back to Ilhan Omar? What are the odds? What are the odds?
Probably
a specific $1 million earmark. Yeah. Pretty high. Now, one of the things that I think is interesting is when we talk on the right, when we talk about DEI, we all know what that means: diversity, equity, and inclusion. And they're misusing the word equity. It should be equality. Okay.
Right.
But it's like, it's a campaign thing. Like they want DEI. It's just rebranded affirmative action. And we're done with it. Like, we don't like it. They had to root DEI out of the military, out of all the different, that's one great thing that Donald Trump has done is he's really targeted the DEI stuff.
Absolutely.
And the Doge guys, the 20 or so Doge people that went into all the branches, they looked for anything that touched feminism, DEI, anything that was based on race. Well, Al Sharpton had a conference full of black people, No offense to be meant.
Yeah.
I don't think they take offense by calling him black. I'm not sure. I don't even know anymore. I don't even know what we're supposed to say. Okay. Which we'll talk about political correctness here in just a second. But the Fox News sent Jesse Waters Primetime sent his little co-host guy that goes out to these live events to go talk to the people at this DEI conference about DEI. And you know what's hilarious? They have no freaking clue.
No justice. No peace.
No peace.
No glory. No peace. It's no peace. Oh, no peace. What does it mean? No justice, no peace.
Oh God. It basically means I don't know. I don't want to do this. I'm scared.
It just means simply like that. No justice, no peace. Well, break it down for me. I'm going to break it down just like this. No justice, no peace.
Equality.
Would you say we're all equal now?
Of course.
If we're all equal now, then what's with DEI?
I can't really give you a profound answer on that.
DEI will help you with all your work. They'll help you with your office work.
Not AI. Sorry. DEI.
Okay, what's that? You tell me what that is.
What is the DEI? DEI. What's the DEI? Is DEI a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a bad thing. It's no equality. There's no fairness. It is no justice.
Al Sharpton.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're trying to say.
So DEI is great.
Oh, okay. Well, if he says great is great.
Kamala Harris is here. She might run for president again. Do you think she should do it? Are you Team Kamala?
Yes, I said you were robbed.
I'm Team Kamala all the way.
Of course. Why would I not be?
But she didn't win any swing states.
She's going to swing those swing states. That's it.
How is she going to swing those swing states?
Oh, she's going to swing them.
We're going to
She's
swing
going to put her keys in the
She's
bowl.
going to swing them.
When you have unfairness and people stealing states and votes, of course.
Who stole the votes?
You could just look who's in the White House.
He stole them.
You can, it's obvious.
Do you want to stop the steal?
We want to stop the steal now.
What are we going to do to protest?
We're going to get our people out.
We're going to march.
We're going to march.
Peacefully. Patriotically.
I would.
What is it, Madam Vice
Peacefully, patriotically. By the way, that's what Donald Trump told us, right? So I guess good for the goose, good for the gander.
President Kamala Harris has done while she was vice president?
I really don't know.
She was able to negotiate peace talks.
Which peace talks did she negotiate?
I don't know. I don't even want to say stuff that I'm not really sure of.
I like that she's standing with the Biden.
So if we elect her again, we'll get more Biden. Is that good?
Biden wasn't that bad. He was not that bad.
No.
No.
Was Biden with it?
No, he wasn't really.
He wasn't with it, but he was great.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah. Right.
But she...
Who cares about the brain?
Exactly.
Right.
Joe Biden's going to be fine.
Kamala Harris is here. She didn't win any swing state, but she might want to be president again. How's that going to work?
Well, we'll see. I'm not going to get out in front of this process. I'm going to stay behind it, push it along.
Would you be Team Kamala?
Well, we'll see.
Johnny from Fox, how's it going? Is she running?
Can we just give it up again for my husband?
Mayor Pete. He says he wants to be president too.
Well, God bless him.
I'm not too keen with Pete.
Kamala said he was too gay to be vice president.
Well,
Mr. Secretary, are you running? Are you running?
I don't have an answer for you now, that, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing President Alfred E. Neumann.
If Kamala Harris and Donald Trump had a rematch, you choose?
I pick Donald Trump.
Who do you want to be the Democrat nominee in 2028?
I'm going to go with Kamala.
I'm rooting for Obama again.
Kamala Harrison.
Just Kamala Harris.
Harrison.
I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she and her.
Do you know who I am?
The handsome Fox. Drop it to his hot.
Ooh, yeah.
What's DEI? It can help you with your office work. It can help you with your research. No, DEI.
No, what's DUI?
What's the DUI? No, DEI. You guys, don't forget, guys, there's going to be an election this year, and it's an important one. So don't forget to vote, because remember, everything's on the line. So we're just going to remind you what happens if you vote for the Democrats, the communists, the socialists, the libtards, okay? We already lost our country to these people. We already lost our country to these people. And we're, yeah, I say Obama versus Trump in 28. That'll wake people up. It'll settle the 3 times a president debate. Listen, you let Trump run again, and we'll let Obama run again. Let's go. Let's do it.
if we as people let these two people run together, I don't think anybody would complain about a third term.
You know what I wish we had? I wish we had the clip from The Simpsons where they demask the politicians, the 2 aliens, and people still vote for them. Yeah. And then they're enslaved. They're like, well, I voted for God's org or whatever. It's like that's exactly what we should do. We should just, all right, yeah, we're just going to run 2 3-term presidents. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, exactly. So don't forget, decency is on the ballots, guys. Decency is on the ballot.
Character is on the ballot. Compassion is on the ballot. Decency, science, democracy, they're all on the ballot. Who we are as a nation, what we stand for, and most importantly, who we want to be, that's all on the ballot. How old are you, 17?
That's what Gallego and Swallow were asking to the girl behind the counter. How old are you, 17? Jeez. Okay. So that's the thing, right? It's a binary choice. You got to either vote Republican or you're going to vote Democrat. It's pretty much going to be one of the 2 candidates. All the purists out there that want their perfect libertarian, that's a Boy Scout and, totally, it's not going to happen. What we need politicians that will do what we elect them to do. And the Democrats do not do that. They don't explain to their people what they're going to do. They don't explain DEI to their constituents. They don't explain any of that. They run on a brand. Vote blue no matter who. Just run against the orange man. That's all it is. For 10 years now, politics has been dictated by that one mantra alone. They don't have a coherent ideology. They don't have a coherent system. They have control of the system, and that's all they do is they just maintain that power. They will lie through the treat. The border's great. Biden's done a lot. I believe in closed borders. Yeah, we definitely need to do something. I'm on the intelligence committee and I'm sleeping with a spy. Yeah, no big deal. What the heck? Right? No more of that. No more of that. You've got to decide. You got to vote Republican. You got to vote on the Republican side of things. The ones who are going to change things, bring us back to a Republican capitalism country, right? We've got to have that. So don't be black-pilled about the midterms. Don't buy into the Democrats are going to run away with it. The only way they're going to run away with it is if we allow a color revolution to run our country, which, by the way, David Axelrod went and met with the Pope. And next thing you know, within a couple of days, you got those 3 cardinals out there going, well, there's just no decency and there's just this deportation. It's scaring all the immigrants. And what about our congregations? Congregations dropped 30% when the illegal immigrants were being targeted. Wait, so your congregations are full of illegal immigrants?
And they only meet in certain countries? Okay.
And so J.D. Vance, who is Catholic, he's a convert to Catholicism, but he is Catholic, spoke out on that whole Pope nonsense, right? And he basically told the Pope, dude, stay in your lane.
It would be best for the Vatican to stick to matters of morality, to stick to matters of what's going on in the Catholic Church, and let the President of the United States stick to dictating American public policy. It would be best.
It would be best if he would just tell the Democrats, because remember, Joe Biden was a Catholic. Nancy Pelosi was a Catholic. They hardly ever did anything about their pro-abortion stances, their anti-equality measures, nothing.
You would never even know that they were Catholic based on their policies.
Never even know that they're Catholic based on their policies. Exactly. Now, yesterday, Tulsi Gabbard put this out. She declassified a whole bunch of reports talking about the Ukraine Gate scandal. So she posts, newly declassified records expose how deep state actors within the intelligence community concocted a false narrative that Congress used to usurp the will of the American people and impeach duly elected President @real Donald Trump in 2020. So what happened is there was a secondhand whistleblower account, Eric Ciaramella, who then went to the IG and they weaponized the process of that. And with that, the IC so-called investigation relied on only secondhand evidence. We impeached a president on secondhand evidence and a self-declared Democrat whistleblower who lied about speaking with Democrats to Congress. That's Eric Ciaramella.
Objection. That's called hearsay.
Yeah, I can think. And every time that point got brought up, Adam Schiff would be like, shh, we can't out the whistleblower. Why? Because he was on your staff? Hey, Russiagate author is key witness. One of the key sources was co-author of a 2017 Russia hoax ICA. So as soon as Bob Mueller said, the Russia hoax, nothing to Trump, they immediately pivoted and came up with this. I mean, it was like Trump had 1 week off. It was just immediate pivot. Who was a close colleague of discredited former FBI agent Peter Strzok. Oh, we're back to the same names. So remember how Eric Swalwell was a part of January 6th, the whole cover up. I mean, he's a part of that. He's part of this ongoing conspiracy, and he just flew the coop. And now you've got Peter Strzok, who's part of Russiagate and all that nonsense and getting all the fake warrants. And now he's also a part of Ukrainegate. Now, a lot of people said, well, this information just came out because it's been 7 years now, and so the statute of limitations has run up. Not if there's a continuing conspiracy. Pray to heaven above that the grand jury and whoever's looking at this is connecting the dots. And they're not just releasing this stuff in these little compartmentalized segments when nothing can be done about it. Because these people without accountability, they'll keep doing it. If Eric Swalwell had been held accountable right after he banged Fang, we wouldn't have had to deal with him for the last decade. But instead, there was no accountability. And next thing you know, he's in a room with 4 people, and one of them might be underage. That's why accountability matters. Because if you don't hold them accountable, they'll do it again. I promise you, I will not go to any more protests. Okay? Accountability. I'm not doing it again. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm not doing it again. All right? So you got to hold them accountable. John Solomon talked about this release and his coverage, and this is a basic breakdown of what was going on there.
As soon as President Trump was cleared on Russia collusion by Bob Mueller, the deep state went right back to work. A CIA analyst filed a complaint that we now know, as of this morning for the first time, was based only on hearsay evidence, was based on a whistleblower who was caught lying, giving a falsehood to his intelligence community recipients, the people who received his whistleblower, who had clear biases, including the fact that he worked for Joe Biden, Donald Trump's likely rival in 2020. And despite all that, they proceeded ahead and forwarded this allegation, these unfounded allegations from a biased and flawed whistleblower to Congress. And then that exculpatory evidence, that evidence that the president could have used to defend himself at the impeachment or the impeachment trial, was kept from the American public, was kept from Congress. Does not look like even his lawyers knew that. How does that happen? Well, you start with a whistleblower that's tied to Joe Biden. That's what these documents that Tulsi Gabbard declassified at our request and gave to us this weekend show. He was a Joe Biden sycophant. He was actually on trips with Joe Biden to Ukraine. He was an advisor to the president. He disliked Republicans. He made fun of Republicans and badmouthed them. He didn't want Devin Nunes to see his complaint in Congress, the then top Republican on House Intelligence. So you have a biased, partisan whistleblower who then gives it to a deep state inspector general, intelligence community inspector general Michael Atkinson, who then decides he's not going to tell Congress the full story about this whistleblower. A few minutes ago, shortly after our story broke overnight, Tulsi Gabbard released to the House Intelligence Committee some new evidence. It's the actual interview of Michael Atkinson. Michael Atkinson's the inspector general who catches the whistleblower's complaint, disseminates it to Congress, and really kicks off the Ukraine impeachment or Russia collusion 2.0. He did not tell Congress in his interview the full extent of what he knew and what was wrong with the whistleblower. He didn't go into the biases or the Biden angle. All he said was he was a registered Democrat. Didn't give any more detail than that. There were really significant details that people needed to make a judgment on his credibility before we tried to remove a president from office. But that was kept by Atkinson. So these two actors, a CIA analyst tied to Joe Biden.
And these guys had deep involvement in Ukraine. And what happened as soon as Trump left office? I mean, it wasn't a very short period of time. What happened over there in that part of the world, Russia and Ukraine? Millions and millions of people have died. And it ties directly to this nonsense. These guys have so much blood on their hands, they're just drenched in it. It's unreal. Not only did they play political shenanigans, not only did they play around with my life, not only did it play around with the sovereignty of the United States, not only did it play footsies with Venezuela, Cuba, and Iran with the election fraud, and not only did they cover up the fraud in the election machines, which means you can't even be certain your local dog catcher was properly elected. Okay. Not only did they do all of that, but you have real lives. Generations have been ended in that conflict. Whole bloodlines gone. Sons, daughters, husbands, wives, Untold amount of lives have been lost, let alone economic damage. You've got an environmental disaster with fiber optic lines running, blanketing cities. You have devastated farmland, all because of what? You made fun of Republicans? Because you wanted to cover for all of your nonsense? Bang, 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 bang. And the list could go on and on and on and on. How do you know a politician's lying, Ron? Their lips are moving.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Donald Trump was asked about this yesterday, which, by the way, he said that little image with him with the thing, which I saw a couple images. It's the exact thing the Pope wears. And the Red Cross also wears the same outfit. He goes, I thought I was a doctor. I was healing the nation. Whatever. He deleted the picture. Too much outcry, too much rage, But he comes
Probably
out
right move.
and he was asked about this disclosure that just happened. And he feels vindicated.
Ukraine impeachment documents that were declassified show that Eric Charinella not only submitted false information, but that he had no direct knowledge of the alleged conversation. All hearsay. Do you feel vindicated by those?
Yeah, I do. They're a bunch of crooked people. You're talking about with respect to all of the things that they put against me? Yeah. Well, it's come out that in so many different ways. Thank you very much for that question. I appreciate it. But in so many different ways, the election was rigged. The 2020 election was rigged. We found that out. What you just said is just a piece of that. It's a big piece, but minor, relatively speaking, compared to what they did. They cheated in the election. They cheated on the vote. And they cheated in every way possible. And it's the only way we got an incompetent man to be a president. And he was an incompetent man. Many of the things that we're talking about, even including this would have been settled a long time ago, not now. And it should have been settled by other presidents. But the election was a rigged election. We can't let that happen to our country. Well, it's a very serious charge against them and the Democrats. They cheat. They can't get elected with their policy. So their policy is no good. They want to have, open borders. They want to have men playing in women's sport. Do you think that men should play in women's sports?
I really don't have an opinion on that.
You don't have an opinion.
No, I'm here about tax on tips.
Yes.
She's a real lobbyist right there.
The DoorDash driver going to the White House, no tax on tips, right? I don't want to have an opinion on that. Yes, you do. We know you do. CIA Director John Ratcliffe was on with Maria Bartiromo, and this was yesterday. It's the same day that Maria interviewed Donald Trump. She gets some hard-hitting interviews, by the way. She's like one of the best shows on Fox.
Yeah.
And she had John Ratcliffe on, and he talked about the criminal referrals for all this stuff. This is ongoing. This whole conspiracy, January 6th, Swalwell and what he pulled on January 6th and trying to make the cops the heroes and blah, blah. They were entrapped just like everyone else. You had the tabletop exercise that the FBI did, basically planning January 6th out and prosecuting the most minor of offenses, right? So now I'm in the story, okay? John Ratcliffe, who, by the way, has compromised himself, according to Patrick Byrne, again, right? So here he is saying, no, we've made criminal referrals. This isn't going away.
So what I think I hear you saying is there is still an opportunity for indictments, potential prosecutions, accountability from those people who may have lied under oath, like John Brennan, James Comey, and perhaps Hillary Clinton.
Well, that's why I've made the referrals that I have. DNI Gabbard has made referrals, and why we're going to continue to share the intelligence that would support the ability of our Department of Justice to make bring fair and just claims against those who have perpetrated this hoax against the American people and this stain on our country.
Director, one other question on this. Tulsi, as well as President Trump, used the word. So what I think I hear you saying is there's still an opportunity for some accountability. And we're waiting. We will wait. Allegedly today, Todd Blanche is going to be nominated for Attorney General. I have real mixed feelings about that. It's probably going to be bad. But one of the things I really hope Todd Blanche does is he helps support the Department of Justice and the Civil Rights Division is cleaning up the voter rolls. This is a problem everywhere. And a great prime example of this, what Matt DiPrino said when he was in that skiff, and he talks about how they have these ghost ballots and they take the voter registration and they can
create a ballot for somebody that is a real person and vote for them because they don't show up. That whole system, that whole thing. This is an exact reason why this is a problem. In Wisconsin, red state, right? Wisconsin, it's like the land of the dairy cow, you know, in Wisconsin. 8,334,319 registered voters in the state of Wisconsin. The problem is they only have an adult population of 4,900,000. Gosh. Don't let anyone fool you if they say, oh, those include inactives. This is from Pete Bernegger. Those inactives can be flipped to active in 2 clicks, which is what Matt DePrino showed. One person with access could flip 50,000 in a second. And we saw that on the ticker on the night of January 2nd. We saw it in 2022. We've seen it in every election since then. All of those registrants can cast a ballot. It is a pool the bad actors source from then to stuff ballots in. They need a name, an address, and voter ID, and 4, they have to be in the system. That's why the bad actors need to know the vote count as soon as they can. Hint, connected to the internet. Stop voting early. Stop voting by mail. You are giving them exactly the information they need, right? When they know if you did or didn't vote, then they can go in and they can do this electronic thing. Right. And that's the mess there. They paid $12,000 for this list, and it came up with 8,300,000. That's why we don't know this stuff, is because it costs to get this information. These guys paid for it, and then immediately they're like, what? There's less than 5 million adults in Wisconsin. How do you have 8.3 million people on your voter rolls? Now, Americans are hip to this. Rasmussen did a poll, and they asked, in their polling, they said the U.S. Justice Department has established the Weaponization Working Group in February 2025, which has done very little. It's been, by the way, Ed Martin, Eagle Eye Ed Martin, he followed me on X. So, you know, we're getting pretty important, guys. I don't know if you know this or not. That means he looked at my profile. He read my posts. He followed me. U.S. Department of Justice established the Weaponization Working Group in February 2025 to review instances of politicized prosecutions. Ukraine, Russiagate, FACE Act, the anti-abortion protesters, January 6ers. There's a whole list of people that fall into that weaponized political prosecution. But the office has since been shut down by department management. Todd Blanche, how important is it that past instances of government weaponization be properly addressed and victims compensated? All voters combined say 68% say yes. Of men, 72% say yes. Women, 63%. And then it breaks it down by age. Whites, blacks, Hispanic, every single one of these numbers is in the majority. The majority of Americans would like people who are targeted by their government to be compensated. Whether you're Republican, whether you're Democrat, whether you're independent, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, or other, they all independent, GOP, even the freaking Democrats come in at 62%. Okay. They all think that victims of political weaponization should be compensated. They all think we should have voter ID. I mean, even the Democrats are like 77, 80% on that one. Okay. We all think things should be fair. If there's one thing we can agree on is let's debate and then let's vote. And if it's a fair vote, the loser will step down and let you try to implement the policies. And in the next campaign cycle, if it doesn't work, we'll run on it and we'll debate it again. That's the system. When that system breaks down and it becomes a fight for power, no matter what the cost, and cover-ups between the name of the game of the day, and policies don't get debated because it just becomes a smear campaign back and forth, right? People get it. People get it. Even the billionaire who supported Swalwell's like, I'm an independent Republican now, right? Don't let anybody tell you that we can't win an election, that the Democrats are just going to take it. Why? Why would they take it? Even Democrats support paying me. They support paying the anti-abortionists who were targeted because in their mind, let's have the debate, right? They support paying the Carter Pages and all the people that were targeted and compensating them. So why aren't we? Why aren't we? And that's just a shameless plug for me. What do we got, Ron? We got a little ad?
I'm looking for one.
Okay, let's see if you can get a wallet to pull up. Just hit that refresh button until the money pops up there, the 15 cents. Okay, so starting on April 9th, we started running our tips promotion on the Rumble wallet. We want to encourage Bitcoin and cryptocurrency use. So between now and May 9th, we're going to take a pool of all the tips that come in our Rumble wallet, and whoever makes the largest tip in that period of time, we are going to kick back, rebate, return, honorarium, whatever. It's a jackpot. You're going to get 10% of the total. So the more people that offer tips, the larger the jackpot tips, and you'll get it back. Now, as it stands right now, there's only one tip in the jar. It's just kind of depressing. Okay. So it's going to be a small rebate if that's how we stick out between now and May 9th. But download your Rumble wallet. You can use other wallets too if you already have one established. You can go get the QR code link and you can send the cryptocurrency directly to the wallet and we'll track it. And whoever creates the largest tip will send 10% right back of the collective pool. So please do that. What do we got? Rumble wallet? Great.
Yes, we do. Got one. Okay, they can cancel your accounts, freeze your cards, decide what you've been allowed to buy, say, or support. Big banks and financial institutions have total control and they use it. And that's why financial independence matters now more than ever. Introducing Rumble Wallet, a wallet built for real freedom. With Rumble Wallet, you control your money, not a bank, not a government, and not a tech company. Buy digital assets like Tether, Tether Gold, and Bitcoin in one secure place. No permission, no middleman, no cancel button. And when you want to support the creators you actually believe in, you can use the Rumble Wallet app to directly tip content creators securely, instantly, and without interference. This isn't a credit line you can shut off. It's your wallet permanently. It's yours to protect your future, yours to protect your family. When the system fails, when institutions turn off their own people, financial sovereignty is the difference between security and vulnerability. Rumble Wallet isn't about politics. It's about freedom, ownership, and protecting what's yours. So take control today. Download the Rumble Wallet now and step away from the big banks for good. True ownership, true protection, true financial freedom.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're not using a crypto wallet, you need to use one. You need to get one because guess what? Things are changing. And one of the things that the CEO of Coinbase said on the news the other day was he said, all of the central banks are starting to buy Cryptoin to create their Bitcoin reserves. Okay, these are big players in the game. It's not only going to drive the price up, but it's going to suck up the inventory. There's only a max of 21 million Bitcoin, and we estimate somewhere between only 18 and 19 million will ever be in circulation because of lost wallets. A lot of boating accidents out there. Okay, so this is a big deal. Get involved in crypto. It's extremely disruptive to everything. As our friend Tom Phillips said on Liberty Lounge this week, which if you haven't watched that, you've got to go watch that Liberty Lounge. You can find it on the Rumble channel. You can find it on YouTube. It'll be rerun on Saturday morning as an audio. So if you wait for the audio, you'll catch it on Saturday. But this is not a once in a lifetime opportunity. This isn't a once in a generation opportunity. This is a once in a species opportunity. This is the equivalent of us going from like seashells to gold bars. And you just happen to have a river full of nuggets. It is a huge opportunity. It is not too late to get in. The price is going to the moon. And why do I say that? Because currently right now, our money is backed by a magic money printer in the sky that has an infinite supply of money. And once the printers turn on specifically to buy Bitcoin, then that value becomes infinite. Okay. And that's what's happening now. What he says here, when you understand how money and currency works, here's your sign.
We also saw the United States of America now has a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So if the United States government is going to begin holding Bitcoin, I think that's going to be a massive driver of demand. And the rest of the G20 countries will probably follow suit. And then the last thing I'd say is that we saw recently the launch of the Bitcoin ETFs by a number of different firms. And Coinbase is actually powering 80% of the custody for those that are out there. But we're seeing a ton of institutional money continue to flow into Bitcoin now that these ETFs are live. So there's a lot of positive tailwinds for Bitcoin. And I think that there's never going to be more than 21 million Bitcoin ever made in the world. And lots of pools of capital still haven't gotten access to it. So that tells me this thing has a long way to run.
It's got a long way to run because it's going to suck up the liquidity from that magic money printer. So it's not what the dollar is compared to Bitcoin. It's what Bitcoin is compared to the dollar. So it's a huge buying opportunity right now, sub $100,000. It is not too late to get in. If you're not involved, you need to be involved because between all the different emergent technologies that are happening, all the stuff that's going on, Eric Weinstein talks about this. There's a tsunami of disruption and a lot of normalcy could be maintained in a fiat money system. Fiat is fake, right? When you can control the money, and in fiat, it's all controlled by law because it's sponsored by the several nations and they say what you can or can't do with the money. One of the best things I understood about the IRS is it's not a tax program. The tax money does not go to social services or filling in potholes or anything. They print new money for that. It goes to pay the interest on the money that was printed. Okay. But what they do with the IRS and taxation, it's an incentive program. If they want you to buy green energy stuff, then they do tax rebates and tax incentives, and that encourages you to buy a specific water heater. If they want you to buy big trucks, then they let you depreciate the truck all in the first year, and it incentivizes contractors to go buy trucks. If they want you to do one thing, then they create tax code to incentivize the purchasing of that. That's going to go away.
The key word there is incentivize.
It's incentivizing. It's an incentivization. It's an incentivization program. They want to encourage where your spending is by offering the tax rates, which is a muzzle on America. It's debt slavery, right? And so in order to have a little bit of this extra currency that's constantly being printed, they want to steer where that money goes and encourage buying today and discourage saving long term. Eric Weinstein, with all the emerging technologies, AI plays a huge part of this, as well as with Bitcoin coming on. There are billionaires that will become paupers that don't get involved in this because their money will be worth nothing. Once a government turns on their printer to buy Bitcoin now, the game's over. The game is over. And everybody who holds their wealth in dollars will be upside down because that printer is going to run and run and run and run because Bitcoin is a thing. It's like there's only so much gold, go get yours. So they'll print as much as they can to get the gold until there's no more gold left. And Bitcoin is the first asset in the history of the world that has built into it true scarcity that cannot be manipulated. It is not a mistake that central banks are buying it. It is not a mistake that the United States is creating a Bitcoin reserve. They don't have an Ethereum reserve. They don't have any other currency, crypto reserves, only Bitcoin. Okay. Eric Weinstein says it best. Hold on. The disruption that's coming is huge, and you should try to be on top.
The average person, I would say, get your board in the water and prepare to paddle like all get it. The tsunami of a lifetime is coming, and nothing your elders have seen is going to prepare. There's no good advice to give that's specific. Let's put it this way. One of the things people tell me about they're moving from one city to another. I have a phrase that nobody likes, which is every place is over. Oh, I'm moving to Austin. It's over. Miami. It's over. Nashville. Over. You know, all these places are over. And every occupation that is named is over. I'm going to be a dentist. Radiologist. Accountant. Teacher. These are all over. Whatever's coming, get flexible, get good on a bunch of different stuff. Learn how to think across disciplines. I have no idea what's going to be left. But you know, somebody's going to come out on top. And I hate to tell people that you should try to come out on top. I don't think it's healthy to have everyone trying to be world time. I think you should be able to just have a life. I have a golden retriever. I don't know that it's the greatest golden retriever. Sometimes I think it does a lot of dumb stuff. He's my golden retriever.
You want to try to come out on top. There's this window of time here. The tsunami of disruption is coming. Oh, I've got a good job. I make good money. You're a dentist. Robots are going to take that job. Oh, I'm a radiologist. Robots are going to take that job. AI is going to take that job. And everything's going to be based in Bitcoin. And you're going to be running around chasing currency. And there's going to be printing. But my house value is tripling every 3 years. That's a bad sign. Okay. That's a bad sign. It's good for me. It flips houses because I don't want to hold them. Right. But that's the thing. Get ready for what's coming. There was a post by one of these Claude bots, and it says, this guy was saying, delete everything, delete your browser history, delete your 10-year-old Tumblr account, delete. AI can hack it all, and it's all going to be out there real soon. Right? All these secrets that politicians keep, it's all going to be out there. All the financial fraud, Ilhan Omar trying to send money to a restaurant so she can get a kickback. Bitcoin Ledger is going to resolve all of that. You're going to see exactly where the money goes that every government has. You're going to know how much money is in Fort Knox. It's coming. It's a tsunami on the horizon, and you have no idea when it's coming, but you can see it. It's already disrupting everything. Get good at something. Get ready. Get ready to get your board in the water and start paddling, right? Because the wave is coming. All right, guys, that's it for the public side. We're going to jump over into private, and we're going to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene and Megyn Kelly. It's going to be fun. Hypocrites, all, hypocrites, every one of them. All right, guys, we'll talk to you again tomorrow. And for the unoffendables, we'll see you over in private. Don't forget to subscribe to Rumble Premium so you can be a part of it. Also, Thursday, we have 1776live.us. We do our Ignite the Fire Within presentation, which is the introduction to our 1776 Live community. Please, please, please come and join us there. You will not regret it. It'll be really great. And you'll get to hear me talk about stuff I don't talk about on the podcast, the stuff we talk about to our intimate community. Also, don't forget, on April 25th, we are going to be in Spokane doing our Stop Starting Over convention. So please, if you're anywhere within striking distance of Spokane or know somebody who is, go to 1776live.us. Get your tickets, $49. You get to come spend a day with us. We'll go out to dinner afterwards. I'll shake your hand. We'll hug. We'll exchange information. It'll be awesome. Please, please, please join us there. We are going to have the one and only amazing Tom Phillips, living on a Bitcoin standard, involved with Bitcoin all the way back in 2013. Guy saw it. He saw it coming. Okay, saw it coming. He lives completely on Bitcoin, does not own dollars. So you can see how it actually works and the huge impact it can have on your life. You can actually save money for once. For once in a generation, literally, you'll be able to save money and the printer won't be able to touch it. In fact, the printer's going to help you. Turn it on, please. Okay. All right, guys, we will talk to you in private, or those of you in private, and the rest of you, we'll see you in Spokane, or we'll see you on